Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be going over liquidity types. So in my previous video, I showed you guys the foundations, but in this specific video, guys, we're going to get into a little bit more specifics. So we're talking about equal highs and lows, Asian range, and trendline liquidity, and how to actually use them effectively. So with that being said, guys, let's get straight into this video. When I say the words liquidity types, guys, it's basically just common things that you'll see in the markets. And I just want to refresh what I told you guys in my previous video. When you guys are looking for buys, you want to pay attention to low points because these are going to be where price will usually take liquidity out, okay? When you are looking for buys, look at lows. When you are looking for sells, you want to look at high points because this is where price will usually take out liquidity for sells. Okay? Asian range is going to be the first liquidity type that we talk about. And it's actually one of my favorites, okay? And when I say the word range, guys, I just mean it's a sideways market. It's indecisive. It doesn't know what it wants to do. And you know what? Some people might place a trade in between this resistance and this support zone here. But it's even better if you just wait for some type of liquidity grab or break of structure so you can then get in for a nice entry. So when it comes to Asian range, you want to draw a support zone to identify the lows, and you want to draw a resistance zone to identify the highs, okay? And also, if you use an indicator, there's also going to be a line in the middle sometimes, and this is called the midline. And the midline is literally in the midpoint or the point in between your highs and lows, okay? That being said, guys, when it comes to Asian range for buys, what you're going to wait for is you are going to mark a low, okay? So let's just say it's this low or even this low here. I'm just going to mark all of them just to show you guys something, okay? So we have this low here and we have this low here, okay? When it comes to Asian range, what I want you guys to pay attention to is these lows for buys. So you're literally going to be looking at support zones, okay? If you are at the support level, you are going to be looking here. Once you have identified a low point for buys, what you're going to do is just pay attention to price action. That being said, if you see price approaching the low point and you see price is most likely going to run through it, aka sweep it, what you're going to do is identify a point in the market that is slightly lower just in case to just validate that it is a true liquidity sweep. Sometimes price will just, come slightly lower and it might just run through the low and it might not be a liquidity sweep. So what I like to do is I like to find a point in the past that's slightly below my support where price could potentially react out off of to then get in for buys if price decides to hold at that zone, okay? That being said, I want to show you guys this sell example. Opposite for sells, you are going to be identifying high points, okay? So right here, we have a high point here, okay? If you want to, draw all the other high points, you most definitely can. So I see one here. I see one here. And I see one here, okay? So if this was the high point that you want to see if price is going to take liquidity out, what you're going to do is mark it, right? Once you have marked it, all you're going to do is basically wait for price to approach it. And once price is getting to that point where it looks like it's going to run through it, look left and see if there is a point in the market where price may potentially use that level to then, reverse into the opposite direction. When it comes to trend line liquidity, guys, you want to pay attention to underneath the trend line for buys and above the trend line for sells, okay? The reason why you want to pay attention to these points is because price will take orders out, then reverse into the opposite direction. I see this a lot during news, but this is what I'm basically saying, okay? In a bullish structure, we create higher highs and higher lows, okay? You guys can see this is bullish structure. What's going to happen is price is going to create this structure, but then eventually what it's going to do is take out orders to then continue in the uptrend direction. It looks something like this, okay? So it will do this pattern. It will then come all the way down here, okay? This is not that pretty, but that's okay. It will collect orders After it collects orders, it will then reverse into the opposite direction for buys, right? Okay, so in a sell market, guys, it creates lower lows and lower highs, okay? And similar to buys, what's going to happen is price is going to take out all of this liquidity or all these orders above here, then reverse into the opposite direction. And one thing I like to do when it comes to trendline liquidity is I always like to ensure that there are at least 2 points on my trend line. Okay, so I like to look at it like this. Okay, so this is point 1 and this is point 2. So these are 2 dots or 2 points that are on my trend line. I need at least 2 in order for me to confirm that this is actually a valid trend line and engineered liquidity is being built up. Okay, you can draw some type of support zone near the first touch of your trend line, or even the second touch, but I usually like to go about it like near the first touch that I drew, okay? And wait for price to take these orders out to then get in for a buy. And then for sells, it's going to be literally the exact same thing, but you're going to be looking at highs, so you're going to be looking more so in this area for the sells, okay? That being said, you're kind of waiting for price to create all this engineered liquidity, create all these orders in the market to then take people out of the market, literally shock them, be like, oh shoot, price is buying now. But nope, it's taking all of these orders out because the markets are smart. Like I said in my previous video, the markets are smart, okay? So it's going to take you out to then, you know, continue in a downtrend, okay? Equal highs and lows are the last liquidity type that I like to use. For equal highs and lows, they are going to look like this. And sometimes people call it the M pattern or the W pattern. When it comes to this, guys, you want to look at lows for buys. You want to pay attention because price will do what? Use these lows, these equal lows as liquidity to then reverse into the opposite direction. And if you guys are not really understanding, like, why is it liquidity? Why is this? Watch my first video. That is why I did the foundations video. So this stuff makes so much sense and you guys can just breeze through it because that's how it should be. Similar for sells, okay? We're going to watch these highs. We're watching high points. We're going to see if price takes these equal highs out. Okay, it does. So what does that mean? Price is most likely using it as liquidity because it held, and then it's going to reverse into the opposite direction. So up until now, you guys now understand what Asian range looks like, trendline liquidity, and equal highs and lows. Now I want to show you guys actual example with candles so you guys can understand it a little bit better. Show you guys this because this was a perfect example of Asian range, and this is actually live markets right now too. Okay, so Asian range, you remember I showed you guys how you want to identify some type of sideways market, and you want to also identify a support zone and a resistance zone. I see the support zone I want to draw. We have a resistance zone. Beautiful, guys. Okay, when it comes to Asian range, guys, you are looking at highs and lows because price will take out buy side liquidity and then it will take out sell side liquidity. Buy side liquidity is just saying liquidity in the uptrend direction. So we're talking about liquidity in this direction, okay? Up, okay? Because it's buy side. Buy, you go up, okay? Buy side liquidity. Sell side liquidity is going to be the opposite. You're going down, so it has to be down here. So I told you guys to look at high points if you want to enter in for a sell. The reason why you are looking at high points is because price could use it as liquidity, and Asian range is known to do this. What's going to happen is price is going to come up, take orders, and if it holds after taking orders, guys, you can then target what? Sell side liquidity. So you can also use an indicator. So this is the indicator that I like to sometimes use, and it will literally draw the exact same thing. Okay, so it will draw a low, and your low is literally your support zone. Okay, it drew it slightly down here, but listen, it's the exact same thing. Okay, so you have your low, okay, so your support, you have your high, so your resistance, and it drew it exactly there. You guys can see exactly perfect. Okay, and then remember I showed you guys that there's something called a midpoint or a midline, and I had this line in the middle, and this is what this is. It's just a point in between the lows and the highs. Okay, these highs were taken out here. Okay, let's just say you were kind of looking at this high. You were like, let's just see if price takes it out. You'll look left, see if there's a point where price, you know, may react off of. Okay, let's just say you identified the point, Okay, it ended up being here. Okay, you want to see if it's a true liquidity sweep. You want to see if price holds, right? So you can look for other confirmations. You can go onto the lower time frame. You can wait for price to break structure. So breaking low points into the sell direction is obviously going to make you more confident that price is actually going to hold. When price did this, okay, it came down here. It tested this level here. Yes, it tested this level here. Okay, it retraced here. And you guys would have been like, oh shoot, price is going to continue buying. But if you draw some type of point, this is why I do draw this some type of point like this. It's because if I draw a point and price ends up breaking that point, I'm not going to enter for a sell, because then I know price isn't holding. But as long as we're respecting that point, this price action is fine for me. It's fine. I'm okay with it because I know, because we came up here, we held here, okay? We're not breaking past this point. Price eventually has to come down, and that is what it did. And it's going to do what? Target sell side liquidity. I hope you guys can see that price is kind of ranging. Okay, so we see a lot of sideways market happening. Okay, so from a top down analysis standpoint, let's just say maybe on the 4 hour you drew, a support zone, you drew a resistance zone, and then you went onto the 2 hour, you drew more zones, and then you went onto the 15 minute and you saw this price action here. Draw everything that you want to draw first before you look for liquidity. Okay, that is for me, that is so important, because don't trick your brain thinking, oh, liquidity was taken out here, this has to be a buy then. No, draw everything you have. Once you have drawn everything, then you identify a high point or you identify a low point. Then you wait to see if price will take those points out or not. Okay, that is how you should go about it. I just want to make that clear. Okay, that being said, we are ranging right now. Okay, so for me, I'm going to draw a support zone to account the lows. I like this level here, okay? And I also kind of like this, okay? And if you guys are kind of like, okay, why'd she draw it there, okay? For me, when I see long wicks like this, I usually don't want to draw my zone down here. I usually like to draw my zones a little bit more higher in price where more touches are happening, but I account for lower prices by using a horizontal ray, okay? That being said, this is a point here that I like, okay? We have our low, and we have our high, okay? Beautiful, okay? We can even, just to validate this happened during Asian session, or this was some type of Asian range, we can use our indicator. We can turn it on. We see, okay, this is valid. We see our lows are here, okay? Our midline is here, okay? Beautiful. Our high is here, beautiful. And you guys know I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at this level, guys. Just in case, let's just say we do take out highs. If price decides to keep pushing a little heavier, this is the point that we want to make sure price doesn't break to actually validate that it is a true liquidity sweep, or yeah. Let's took this low out here. Okay, so if you guys didn't even understand a thing that I just said about Asian range, I told you guys, if you can identify low, you can identify liquidity. And I say that because it really is that. There is a low here. Price ended up taking it. Okay, it started breaking. Okay, I told you guys to kind of look left to account for, price going lower. I would have most likely, maybe done it here, but you can see price did hold off of this level. It is truly a liquidity sweep, okay? So this is sell side liquidity taken out. So what's the next target? After sell side liquidity is taken out, so when I say sell side liquidity, I mean liquidity or orders are being taken out in the sell direction. So we were up here, we came down here, we took this low out. This is sell side. It's on the seller side. Sellers did this, not sellers did this. Now buyers are going to come in and target what? Buy side liquidity. So buy or orders in the uptrend direction. So it would be orders in this area because we want to take out highs, right? So that being said, let's just say we are approaching this resistance zone, which we are, okay? We're approaching this resistance zone. We want to see if sell side liquidity is going to be presented in front of us. We want to see if we can get into the market for sells, okay? What are you going to identify, guys? You are identifying highs for buys. Highs for sells, okay? So identify a high point for sells, okay? So I'm looking here. And you guys might think this is a high point that you could be looking at. But guys, when it comes to ranges like this, it's easier to look at higher points in the market and more in the zones that are more supported or more strong, if you could say. This is more strong because there's multiple reactions here. Whereas this in between here, this is the midline. Remember I had this line drawn earlier? This is the midline. And because this is so close to the midline, for me, I'm just going to not really pay attention to this area. I'm going to be paying attention to reactions at the major zones, at the support, or at the resistance zones that I drew. Okay, so I'm not looking here. Okay, that being said, we're waiting for price to approach our resistance zone to see if this high is taken out. Okay, let's wait for the next candle. Okay, beautiful. Price is taking out this high. Okay, as it should. Okay, let's watch this next high. Beautiful. Beautiful. Price is coming to it. Beautiful. And what I tell you guys, when you see prices approaching this high point, look left to find some type of level that price may come up to react off of, because this is going to be to validate that it's actually a liquidity sweep, right? So price is approaching it. Let's wait for the next candle. Let's actually see. Okay, you see that candle? Woo, that's a nice candle. Okay, beautiful. Okay, we didn't even come near this line. So this is even better. When we don't come near this line, that's even better, because then it's a quick liquidity sweep. Then you can look for extra confirmations, okay? Because price held, you can wait for extra confirmations, especially if we break this point here. I'm going to be even more happier, okay? Then you target sell side liquidity, okay? So you can target, let's just say here for now. But have your stop loss to whatever you usually do it at. But this, for me, price took this high out. It's holding. Okay, didn't even come near the point where I was like, price may come to. Okay, it didn't come close to it. Okay, held here. Okay, this is now a liquidity sweep. Okay, so now this is, oh wow. Whoa. Okay, so if you guys see some type of ranges like this, guys, you should 100% just draw your support, draw your resistance, and pay attention to these points, because they can help you get good entries. Look at this. When it comes to trendline liquidity, what you're first going to do is identify the structure that's being presented. We see bearish structure is being presented. That being said, the trend line is going to be on top of the points, okay? I told you guys, when it comes to trendline liquidity, price will usually take orders above the trend line to then reverse into the opposite direction to continue this sell trend, okay? So one thing I want you guys to pay attention to is actually how price is creating structure, okay? The reason why this is really important when you see it like this is because this is also compressed, okay? And when I say the word compressed, guys, I want you guys to think about lots of orders being placed in the market. And in my previous video, I told you guys that liquidity is orders in the market, and price loves orders. What you want to pay attention to is up here, because price may use it as liquidity. So I just want to, draw that. Okay, beautiful. I also told you guys you should have at least 2 touches on your trend line. The reason why I say 2 touches is because you want it to be actually valid. You don't want to have a trend line that just doesn't make sense, right? So I see this level here. Okay, I like this touch. I love this touch here. And then I also like this touch here. Okay, beautiful. So, okay, for this sell, because this is my first touch here, or approximately where my first touch is around, I do like to usually draw some type of support zone or resistance zone, in this case, near that area. The reason why I like to do this is because if price is going to take out orders, right, and it still wants to continue a sell trend, this is the highest level or the highest point that we can expect price to really go. And it makes sense if you actually understand structure. Because listen, guys, in a bearish market, we create lower lows and lower highs, okay? So I just showed you guys, we kind of had this, and this, okay? This is what we're kind of looking at right now, okay? Realistically, if we want to continue creating lower lows and lower highs, especially lower highs, then the lower high has to be lower than this level here. Because if it goes above it, in my opinion, I feel like that is a trend shift. So from sellers to buyers. And because of that, I wouldn't count that as a liquidity sweep. I would just count it as price changing character or changing trend direction. That being said, guys, this is the highest point that I'll be looking at for price to then go to then sell down. Because if it doesn't break this level, it is still technically in sell structure, because price will still be creating a lower high. I hope that kind of makes sense, okay? whatever you want. This is just after you have all your markings down. You might, and then you'd be like, oh, I noticed this little compression happening, a bunch of orders being, you know, presented in front of me. Let me draw a trend line. Okay, beautiful. You have a trend line. What do you do in trend line liquidity? What do you pay attention to? Okay, if you want price to continue the sell trend, this level here is really important. Okay, you acknowledge that. Okay, so you're getting ready to enter in for a position here. Okay, and then you probably want to target, let's just say here. Okay, so you're just waiting to see the reactions that are happening. Okay, so let's just wait for the next candle. Okay, beautiful. Let's watch price action now, guys. Okay, so we're gonna wait for the next candles. Okay, took these orders out. Okay, held. Okay, let's watch. Let's see. Okay, we have a bunch of orders here compressed. Okay, because what do the banks and institutions know? They know people love to use trend lines. They know it, and because they know people love to use lines, they are going to anticipate that people have their stop losses here. Because realistically, what trendline traders will be like, okay, price bounced off this trend line here, it respected it, let me enter in for a sell. But what these institutions are going to try and do is going to try and reverse to take these orders out to then continue selling down. So this is why I told you guys, this point here is the highest point that we should expect price to go to if it wants to continue selling down. If it breaks this point, guys, I'm no longer looking for sells. Okay, this is where you want to start paying attention. Okay, we have our zone here. Okay, let's see what happens the next couple candles that happen. Okay, let me, I was getting a little too impatient. I was about to just put it. Okay, so we took out all these orders here. We tested this level, the point where the highest point where price would potentially go to. Okay, it looks like we're holding here. What I would kind of do too is go onto the lower time frame just to make sure that this is valid, and just to make sure that this is actually a price just taking out all of these orders here. Because then what I'm going to be looking at is I'm going to be making sure low points get broken, because we want what? Lows to be broken in a sell structure, in a sell trend, okay? In a bearish market. So I'm going to be looking here, and I want to pay attention to see if we get some type of breaks of low points. Okay, so I went onto the 5-minute. I'm currently on the 15-minute watching price action right now. Okay, so we'll just play it out. We'll see. Okay, damn, never mind, already happened. Okay, that was kind of, I didn't think it was, okay, let's just see. Okay, we did hold here. I just want to make sure that we're still going to push down. Let's just see what happens. I don't, okay, the 5-minute, the watching price on the 5-minute is so, okay, we might be pushing, I can't really tell with this. This is kind of, I don't know. Let's see. Price is taking its time. I think it's just going to end up by, whoa, I don't know if I would have held this, guys. This would give me anxiety. I'm not, but another beautiful, yo. It took a while, so let me see how long this would have taken. Cause I'm curious now, because this actually, okay, this is okay. You would have held it for about 24 hours. I ain't gonna lie. Implement Asian range if you wanted to, and you could have gotten another entry. Okay, cause look at this. Oh, I just realized. Cause look at this, guys. We have our, our lows and our lows and our highs of Asian. Okay. Sell side liquidity was taken out. Now price is going to target buy side liquidity. So in this uptrend direction, okay, we marked this high point. Let's just say here, price took this high point and it held here. And this would be the point where I would be like, okay, if price starts breaking this level, we know price is going to, not sell. Okay, it didn't. It held here. And once it held here, you could have definitely got in on a sell position on a lower time frame, and then boom, price hit that TP. Look at that price. Oh, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you can spot a sideways market, you can implement the Asian range I told you guys in the beginning. Like, that is why it is a game changer. Okay. So for this example, we can see the price is in an uptrend. So the first thing I want you guys to do is identify structure. Beautiful. Okay. We're in an uptrend. That means our trend line has to be on the low points. Okay. These lows. Okay. So below price. That being said, guys, I'm going to put this liquidity thing on quick. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. We can see that price is creating these small little candles. And remember, I told you guys to pay attention when price starts making these small candles really close together, because that's also price being compressed. And when price is compressed, it's also indicating that there's a lot of orders in the market here. And when I see this, this is where I start paying attention to areas underneath this, because this will then give me some type of entry point down here to then continue pushing up. Same with buys. I like to look at the lowest point, or my lowest point that I have on my trend line, as a reference point. Okay, so we have a touch here. Okay, so we have a touch here, we have a touch here, and then we also have a touch here. Beautiful. Okay, and we can just mark this resistance, honestly, since it's clearly close to it. Remember in my sell example, I had a point where I was like, okay, if price touches this level and breaks it, okay, it might not be a true liquidity sweep. Okay, I'm gonna do the exact same thing for buys. Okay, so let's just say I have all my chart markings on, right? And I'm like, okay, ooh, I like this trend line a little, I like this liquidity, this trend line liquidity here. Okay, let me find some type of point where price, you know, might come, or the lowest point price will come to. So it's usually gonna be at where my first point is on my trend line, but sometimes I might have to readjust it and I'll look left. Okay, I also like this level here, so it's slightly lower than this point here, but that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna be like that. Okay, so this is where I'm kind of paying attention to for buys. Okay guys, so that being said, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play it out and wait. Okay, if we start breaking this level, guys, I might think that sellers are just totally in control, and this is not a true trendline liquidity. Trendline liquidity. Okay, beautiful. Let's play it out. Okay, took this order here. Okay, we're kind of seeing if price will take this level here. Okay, sometimes I will look at the second point as another point too, but if we start breaking this second point, then this is the point I'm for sure looking at. So let's just mark that. Okay, let's just see if it breaks. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now this is where it gets important. Okay, you can wait for price to come. Woo! Just immediately just took off, guys. Okay, well, or it'll do that. it will take off. But okay, let's just continue playing this out, because now I want to see what happens. Okay, price just ended up not touching our zone. Okay, that's okay. Okay, but this is okay. We get the point, Nas. We get the point. You want to buy for real. Okay, but okay. You guys can see price took these lows out here. Okay, it didn't actually end up coming to this low. It didn't come to this low. I thought it was gonna come a little bit lower, but it didn't. It ended up testing this level because it did stay above this level anyways. Like, I am pretty happy. But yeah, price ended up taking liquidity out. Okay, it just missed this low, but it came pretty close. Like, if you already just knew that to pay attention to this low here, you would have already been good. Okay, and then you could have dropped down to the 5 minute, or even the 3 minute, or whatever, or the 2 minute. That's funny. Or even the 1 minute. And then found some type of entry. So let's just say this move happened and you missed it. You thought you missed it. What are you doing, guys? Find a break the structure of a high point because you want to buy. Okay, if price breaks and respects it, what are you doing? Entering in for a buy. Okay, so this is a point. This is a later entry, but this is what you could have done if you were like me and you were anticipating for price to come a bit lower. Okay, that is going to happen. You just have to react off of what you see. Okay, so do not be mad if that happens to you. Okay, it happens to all of us. It happened to me literally just right now. So don't worry about that. But that's sometimes what's going to happen. That is why I told you guys, or I hope I told you guys that if I don't, I will usually look at the first point or I'll look at the second point. Okay, when it comes to equal highs and lows, I actually use the equal highs and lows probably the most. And it's because realistically, guys, when you think about drawing your support zones or drawing your resistance zones, you usually base it off of price tapping into that level multiple times. So automatically you are looking at lows for buys, right? Because you're looking at this level, this point here, if you were going to enter in for a buy, to see if price uses it as liquidity, which it does, boom. And then price buy, right? You're looking at highs for sells, right? So we have, multiple touches here. You're paying attention to see if price will take these equal highs out or this high out in general to then sell down, right? And so I love to look at equal highs and lows at my support zones and at my resistance zones, or when price is approaching my zones. Okay, so let's just say we have this resistance level here. Okay, price is already approaching it. We see multiple touches. Me being me, I probably won't have this zone stretched out this far. It might be drawn maybe kind of here, but this is still equal highs, okay? That being said, guys, we are looking at highs or high points when it comes to equal highs, because we want to make sure this is not used as liquidity. And if it does, we are ready for it. So this is a high point I'm going to mark here. Okay. I could have marked this one. I could have marked that one. They're literally the same. Okay. Same thing. Okay. We're waiting for price to come to our zone. Beautiful. Price is at our zone. Okay. I'm hitting this a little too quick. Price is at our zone. Okay. It pushed past our zone really, really strong, guys. And this is why looking left and just making sure you have a reference point. Okay, if we stay below so-and-so, we're good. I'm going to make it a little bit more specific to this point instead of this point. But I'll also draw this point here just in case. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Now that we have that point drawn there, what you can do is then validate if it is price taking, these orders here. And if it holds, you can then enter in for a sell. So this is literally what I drew in the beginning. And this is why I hope this is making sense for you guys, because the first video that I actually made on liquidity, I was like, I don't want to just talk about this liquidity types. Because I feel like if you guys don't understand what to actually look for when it comes to liquidity, this is not going to make any sense to you. Like, this is not going to make, why am I doing this? No. If you watch my first video, this should make sense, and I'm hoping it does, guys. Okay, so we price taking out this high. We want to make sure price stays below this point here. Let's just see what happens. Okay, and beautiful. Okay, price took these orders out here. Okay, we see this M pattern. We see these equal highs here. Okay, if you don't, I just want to make sure you do. Boom, you see that? You see that M? You see that M? Beautiful. That's a beautiful M. Okay. You can even this one is the same thing. It doesn't always have to be perfect, okay? This is an M, okay? These are equal highs. They need to be taken out, okay? So it did get taken out. Price held here, staying below that level. This is now considered a liquidity sweep, and price can now, go into the sell direct. Oh my gosh, guys, why does this keep happening? These strong impulsive. I swear these candles keep shocking me, because what the heck? Yeah, so in this example, we actually have a bunch of equal lows being presented. So the reason why I say a bunch is because, guys, we see this pattern, we see equal lows right here. We also see equal lows right here. Okay, so for equal lows, guys, like I said, you wanna always have some type of point that's lower than your support zone, just to make sure, okay, if price breaks this level, I'm no longer looking for a buy or a sell, okay? So this is going to be my point that I'm going to be looking at, okay? That being said, guys, we are anticipating that price is going to take out these lows here, okay? It's going to take out these lows. It already took out these lows, okay? We can see, just to make sure price is going to come lower, I'm just going to draw this point here. If we stay below this point, I can definitely see price coming lower, okay? So, okay, beautiful, okay? Okay, damn, why is it... I swear I only played one candle. Oh, it might be my speed. My speed. I increased it. I didn't mean, okay, that's why. Okay, so price came down here. It's taking out these lows, okay? This is the point where I don't want price to break. If it breaks, we're no longer looking for buys, okay? So, equal lows here. It was taken out here. We're validating that this is a true liquidity sweep, or price is trying to at least take orders, okay? We can drop down, okay? We can wait for some type of break of structure. We can wait for other entry confirmations. But if it holds, guys, which it looks like it is doing, just get in for that buy. Nah, don't just get in, okay? Obviously have your other confirmations, and if it seems like a good opportunity, definitely take that trade, because then that is then considered liquidity, and you can definitely get in, okay? So this so price looks like it is holding, especially after having this strong impulsive move. And then I see this candle here. This is usually when I see these two in combination, I'm usually pretty confident in my trades. I'm not gonna lie. And then yeah, price, see, look at that. Ooh, lows were taken out, held here, okay? Had our reference point, broke, okay? Drop down time frames, okay? Found a point to enter off of, boom, okay? And price just flew, guys. So if you guys were struggling to understand what I was saying, I definitely recommend watching my liquidity part 1 video, because in that video I really talk about the foundations and how to actually identify liquidity. But anyways, guys, this is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.